Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me is Arundhati Ramanan. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Tiger Global-backed DealShare fires around 100 employees, or over 6% of its 1,500-strong workforce, joins fellow unicorns Swiggy, Ola, Moglik, ShareChat, Innovator and Lead School in conducting layoffs in the first month of 2023, according to reports. Reducing cash burn and extending capital runway were the key reasons behind the job cuts.
Sequoia One's portfolio startup says there is zero tolerance for financial irregularities. The VC firm is now preparing to write off its investment in Go Mechanic and take action against the founders, as per reports. The cautionary note comes after a series of governance lapses at Sequoia-backed startups, including Zilingo.
Oyo expects to clock its first full year of EBITDA profitability in FY23. The hospitality unicorn tells employees in a town hall meeting. Oyo projects EBITDA to jump 3 times to 185 crore rupees in the second half of the fiscal, as against 63 crore rupees reported for the first half in its IPO filings.
Startups accuse Google of delaying tactics and term changes in Android and App Store policies as cosmetic in nature. According to reports, the accusations emerge as the US tech giant continues to contest the 1,337 crore rupee penalty imposed by the CCI for anti-competitive practices.
One of the world's most valued startups, Stripe, appoints JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs for urgent funds to overcome liquidity crunch. Once valued at $95 billion, Stripe has not only cut its internal valuation to $63 billion, it has also laid off 1,000 employees.
Fidelity cuts Ant Group's valuation to $63 billion. Do win from $235 billion just before the Chinese government blocked the Jack Ma-founded company's IPO in November 2020. According to a Bloomberg report, the company is looking to go public, but as of January, there are no IPO plans in place yet.
Those are the headlines we are tracking for you this evening. Previous budgets have put India firmly on a path to low-carbon development, but this budget comes at a time when we are falling behind on our first green goal of installing 175 gigawatt of renewable capacity by 2022. Now, will Budget 2023 propel India into the future as an economic and green powerhouse? Can it this time make a deeper push into the green? Nitin Gupta, co-founder and CEO of electronic waste recycling company Attero Recycling, and Vivek Pandey, co-founder and CTO of climate smart deep tech startup Ecozen, joins me now to talk about their wish list. Also joining us is my colleague Arundhati. Gentlemen, welcome to Startup Street. Nitin, let me start with you. Give us your wish list for the union budget. Of course, a policy push will be positive for demand creation and a budgetary push will be beneficial on the supply side. So tell us what you think needs to be done here.
Thank you for having us, Shruti. So essentially, see, there are a huge amount of tailwinds for sustainability and climate change across the world, and India sort of is front and center at it. And given the fact that we have taken a very aggressive target of carbon neutrality, that is, we claim that we expect that we'll get to carbon zero by 2070, we expect that this budget will place a lot of emphasis on carbon sort of technologies or carbon change, climate change, directly or indirectly. Within that, there'll be sort of a lot of emphasis on circular economy. There'll be a lot of emphasis on renewable power. There'll be a lot of emphasis on recycling as well. Specifically, we expect that recycling sector would probably be declared as a priority lending sector. There'll be a PLI scheme very similar to what is sort of envisaged for cell manufacturing in the country. A PLI scheme for LIB, lithium and battery recycling, is something that we definitely expect, especially since India does not have any reserves of cobalt and lithium, both of which are very critical metals for the nation, as well as from a geopolitical perspective. And to ensure that we become self-sufficient in these critical battery materials, recycling is key. So those are some of the things that we expect from this budget, Shruti.
Right, absolutely. Hi, gentlemen. Arundhati here. So, Vivek, let me bring you into the conversation. Do you believe that for Make in India to be truly successful, it is important for the government to not just provide incentives to set up manufacturing, but foster federally funded deep tech R&D where innovators can create and commercialize path-breaking innovations? Vivek, what are your big asks?
Yeah, thank you, Arundhati. To me, Make in India is not just about manufacturing in India. It is actually to create in India and create in India, for India, and for the rest of the world, right? So while iPhone manufacturing and everything is great for the country, in order for Make in India to be done at a great scale, we need to have innovation clusters which are which help not only create innovation but also commercialize it at a large scale very, very rapidly, right? And my ask would be to set up non-academic research labs, focusing on things like new materials, new technologies. Some of the technologies that we are working on are in terms of new motor designs, new materials in terms of energy storage, and these things take a lot of time to develop, right? And in order to create the right kind of talent as well as the right kind of infrastructure for all sorts of tests and research to be done, if there is a government push on that front, that could really help India taking it forward to the next level.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, Vivek, let me go back to Nitin quickly. Nitin, one of your big asks is to declare the recycling sector a priority sector for lending. Now, what is the kind of impact this will have and how will it boost growth for the sector?
So, Shruti, very simply, once it's declared as a priority sector for lending, then there'll be a lot more sort of debt financing or project financing happening for capacity building for recycling in India, right? Now, the recycling is very critical, not only to ensure that India takes the leap in circular economy, but in certain cases, it's extremely critical from a strategic perspective. So let's take a look at lithium-ion batteries, right? The government of India has a very strong push for EVs, but lithium-ion batteries contribute a huge amount of value in an EV, almost 50%, if not more. Out of that, at least 45% is the value of raw materials that make up the battery, which include cobalt, lithium, nickel, graphite, manganese. Each of these critical raw materials has significant ESG issues and significant supply security issues. But more importantly, none of them are very easily available in India. So getting to a place where we have sort of not only Make in India, but the entire supply chain in India, for that recycling is sort of very, very critical.
Sure. Okay. All right. Moving forward from this, Vivek, coming to you now. At the end of December 2022, according to the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, we are at 120 gigawatt, falling behind on our first green goal of installing 175 gigawatt of renewable capacity. India also has an ambition to add 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. With the announcement of the green hydrogen mission, that target just went up by another 125 gigawatt. What, according to you, should be the priorities going forward?
I think the first priority has to be that goals as they are set up have to be met. We need to stay sharp in the goal, right? Another thing that I see is that there has to be a more closer partnership with the corporates to ensure that these goals are met properly. The government working with corporates in a hand-in-hand manner would take this a long way. I think one of the things for making such ambitious targets and achieving them, it's very important for talent to be created internally very well as well. And for that, I think a lot of resources have to be put on training the right kind of people to be brought into the sector. With for example, green hydrogen coming in, it's a new, pretty much a new concept in India for sure, right? It is being done for quite some time now, but at scale, it will require the kind of people that would require is going to be very different.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I think is needed. Another thing is, in order to do this at volume, the overall the rate at which we have to grow, it has to be very, very quick. And in order to get there, it can be propelled by innovations.
Absolutely.
Right?
So
and these innovations are something, there should be a room of these innovations to grow in the country.
Yeah.
As well.
So innovation and talent is extremely key. Nitin, if you could quickly tell us, we're running out of time. A circular economy is extremely important given India's commitment to being net neutral by 2070. So what kind of fiscal incentives are needed to promote a circular economy at this point?
So a couple of things in our opinion, which can be considered or should be considered, very similar to what's happening globally. So the US government actually put out a very $500 billion subsidy called the IRA or Inflation Reduction Act, which basically enabled the entire battery supply chain to be domesticated in the US. And a lot of that is moving back from China. A lot of that is moving back from Europe to the US. We expect a similar kind of a policy in India, either on the lines of a PLI policy for recycling, which is dependent on yields of recovery. So if you're a lithium-ion battery recycling company and you recover maximum amount of cobalt, lithium carbonate, graphite, manganese, like Attero does, then you should be eligible for this PLI scheme, which will help you build more and more capacity, right? Either that or a combination of some of those other fiscal incentives for the sector per se.
Right. All right, Nitin, Vivek, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Well, after decoding India's coffee culture, it's time for us to head into a short break. Coming up next on the show, hemp is one of the oldest cultivated plant in the world and one that's been treated with a lot of confusion. The big question around it is it legal and safe to use? A special report on the hemp market in India. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. When you list down superfoods, would hemp feature in that list? Well, Jayanti Bhattacharya saw immense potential in industrial and medical hemp, which led to the start of India Hemp & Co. in 2019. In this special edition of Future Female Forward, my colleague Aishwarya Anand brings you the story of how a search to find relief for chronic back pain led two sisters to start up with hemp as a cure. Take a look.
Hemp is one of the oldest cultivated plants in the world and the one that's been treated with a lot of confusion. Is it illegal or safe to use? While hemp-based products have been available in Indian markets for over some years now, the market was mostly unregulated. This changed with a November 2021 notification by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, under which hemp seed, oil and flour was allowed to be sold as food. In fact, Uttarakhand became the first state to permit commercial cultivation of industrial hemp in July 2018. Today, this ancient plant is fueling a rush as startups make a beeline to market it as a healthy product. Currently, over 30 Indian brands like Boheco, India Hemp Organics, Ratan Tata-backed Bombay Hemp are innovating to sell hemp-based products ranging from oils, skincare to even building materials.
For India Hemp & Co., we were at the right time, at the right place. So we started exactly 3 years ago when the market was opening up. We came with products 3 months before the lockdown, but I think it worked really well for us because that's when people had that mind space. People wanted to eat healthy. People loved our packaging because it's sustainable and recyclable. But one of the main challenges we did face initially was communicating to the customer on what was hemp. What hemp does is it has millions of different kinds of properties that really help reduce lifestyle diseases, that help prevent diabetes and also help treat them. So what we're trying to do is to add that extra nutrition with hemp in your food. We've started off with a line of nutrition products and we're soon going to get into the medicinal side of hemp, which is CBD. With extraction of CBD, you need to have really good, really advanced equipment, and that's happening now. We have a range of 7 different products. These beautiful seeds that you see here are whole hemp seeds. Once you extract it, cold press, you use a cold pressing facility and you get oil. Again, hemp seed oil can be used topically as well as can be ingested. Now, almost as a byproduct of this is this beautiful hemp cake that you get, which is further dried down and powdered to give you a hemp protein powder. What this does is this lets you, it's again got very high protein in it, but very high fiber. It's very easy to use and your body automatically absorbs the protein. Again, another very beautiful product are our hemp hearts. Again, it's the whole seed. Once you shell it or dehull it, you get the hemp hearts. A very simple product as an entry-level product are the hemp trail mix, which is again familiar seeds and hemp seeds added to it. This is the line that we have for people. We also have a line for pets, which is again different kinds of hemp oils and the hemp pet treats. We largely sell online. 70% of our sales are made online. And we do have a lot of stores that we sell with. We partner with Nature's Basket, also Big Basket and Amazon right now. We do around 70 to 75 lakhs per year with just the nutrition range. And what we're looking at is scaling this at least 10 times over in the next 6 months. With businesses like ours, what happens is you always need capital. You need working capital, especially if you're selling offline because payments get stuck. We're looking to raise 5 CR in the next 1.5 to 2 years. So in terms of impact, we do make a conscious effort to employ more women. We are also working directly with a few farmers in Himachal. We are setting up a small plant there as well to be able to empower more women, growers. Right now, I can proudly say we're 80% women and 20% men. We're actually present in all the metros and tier 2 cities like Kerala, Mysore. So we've got a very strong hold right from Karnataka, Hyderabad, Tamil Nadu, Bombay, Delhi, right up to Uttarakhand. So we've got a really good base right across. And we would like to start exporting the hemp because we understand the marketing, and all our products have actually been designed to export our hemp. So we are working with Europe.
The global industrial market for hemp is projected to surge from $4.6 billion in 2019 to $26.6 billion by 2025. According to experts, India is one of the world's largest and untapped medical cannabis markets today and has the potential to quickly catch up with other countries like China in exporting hemp products to the US and Europe. It can also be an alternative revenue stream for Indian farmers along with the sustainable, eco-friendly product lines. With camera person Manjunath and Nitin Trivedi, this is Aishwarya Anand for CNBC-TV18.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.